Hey guys, welcome to my office where I have my seed starting set up. I'm going to take you through today and show you all the different pieces that go into this setup, and I will link down below where I got all of these things if I can find them, and so you can make your own little seed starting shelf. So basically I start my seeds inside on this shelf, and then when they are big enough, when the seedlings are big enough, I actually move them out to my greenhouse. My greenhouse is not warm enough to start seeds in. I usually will not move anything out to the greenhouse until like the end of March. So the last month and a half of their time before they go in the ground is spent in the greenhouse. But the first part of their life is spent on this shelf in here. So this is a 3-shelf, like a 3-shelf wire shelving unit from Target. It is, I can fit 3 10-20 trays on each shelf. So I have the ability to have 6 trays on this shelf. Now, let me scoot this back a little. I have another shelf down here that I can put more trays on. Now, obviously, that's a lot of plants, but there will be times when I will have seedlings on both of these shelves, especially if I have to bring stuff in from the greenhouse one night. I will fill up this entire shelving unit. It does have like a top shelf, but that's just where I keep all my supplies and stuff. I don't necessarily put seedlings up there because I can't hang lights. So what I have done is I have bought this shelving unit and I have attached my shop lights to the shelves. So these are just LED shop lights from Menards. They plug in, they're not hardwired, they plug in. I have 4 of them, so I have 2 on each shelf. You see 1 in the front and 1 in the back. That helps keep the light more evenly distributed. And what I've done is I actually have, let me see if you can see these. I have these hanging plant chains, and that's what I use to hang them. I have a little zip tie here in the little hole, but then I thread the chain through the zip tie, and that's how I can lower or raise and lower the lights themselves. So I have 2 lights per shelf. All the cords come up and plug into this really cool outlet surge protector thing. So I can just turn on each side of this individually. I got this for Christmas and I absolutely love it. So I can have my lights on or off, and then over here I have my heat mats. So my heat mats will stay on 24/7. So just push this and they're on, but the lights will not be on 24/7. So instead of having to come through and pull all the pull chains, I can just turn them all on and then turn them all off. I will link this down below. This thing is so cool. It has 4 sides of outlets, and then it also has some USBs down here as well. But I love this thing. So this is, oops, I'm knocking over the tripod. This is kind of the wide shot of the shelf. It looks a little messy right now, but it's seed starting time. So, you know, things are going to be a little bit messy. So up here on the top is where I just keep all my supplies. These are the seeds I'm going to be starting this weekend. Other stuff. Second shelf and third shelf are for seed trays. Second shelf is really where I'm going to focus on starting seeds. So I have heat mats down here. These are the Vivo Sun heat mats. I have 3 of these on this shelf, 1 to go under each tray that will be on this shelf. And then if I need to, I have more I can put down here, but there's also a heat vent back there. So this does stay nice and warm, which is good for your seedlings. So I have these, love these things. I get them on Amazon. They're not expensive and they stay a good temperature. For trays themselves. So this is what I start my seeds in. This is called a 10-20 tray, this tray on the bottom. So let me take this apart here. So this is a 1020 tray. These do not have holes in them. These are nice and sturdy. I get these from Greenhouse Megastore. I love these. I love Greenhouse Megastore. They have really nice, high quality stuff. It's not expensive. And this tray in particular, I've had for probably 4 years, and you can't even tell. It looks brand new. They are nice and heavy duty. They don't bend in the middle when you have a bunch of pots in them, which I love. So this is the base of every tray of seeds I start, is one of these 1020 trays. Now, inside of this tray, I am using this little 72 cell plug tray. So you can kind of see there's holes in the bottoms of these, and it goes right in this tray. I will fill this with soil, moistened soil, and then I will start my seeds in this. I will put water in this bottom tray here, not a lot, just a little, and bottom water like that. It makes bottom watering super easy, and you can fit so many plants in this tray. Now obviously these will have to be up potted, so I will start my seeds in this 72 cell tray, and then I will up pot to 2 1/4 inch square pots. I get all of that stuff from Greenhouse Megastore. I buy these inserts from Greenhouse Megastore. I buy my pots and my tray inserts from Greenhouse Megastore as well. Now the humidity domes, this is just a Jiffy humidity dome. I get these at Menards for like 50 cents. I don't have very many of these. I think I have 3, but realistically, I don't ever start more than 3 trays of seeds at a time. And they fit on these trays just like that. So they sit on top, and then they will go on the shelf, and that's how I will start my seeds. I do use Pro Mix when I start seeds. I do not use a dedicated seed starting mix because there's no nutrients in that. So I like to use Pro Mix because it does have nutrients for the seedlings after they come up. So I don't have to immediately up pot them or fertilize them. They're good in that Pro Mix for a couple weeks until I up pot them. I will fertilize them every once in a while with just some really diluted like fish fertilizer, or even my tomatoes. I actually like to use a mixture of like a couple, someone's over here crying, a couple teaspoons of molasses, like unsulfured molasses, and some water, like a couple quarts of water. I like to feed that to my tomatoes when they're little, and they really seem to like that. It gives them that little extra boost to get going. Sometimes they need that. So that is kind of my routine when it comes to seed starting. Now, once the seedlings are up and they're sprouted and this dome is off, I will put a fan on them. So I have a fan, and this is just like it's just a cheap fan. I've had this thing for like 10 years. I just sit it over here on the sewing box, and it blows across all 3 trays, and it does a pretty decent job. You want to make sure that your seedlings do have some sort of air movement on them to strengthen the stems. That's pretty important. If you don't do that, it's fine, but you may end up with like some kind of weak seedlings, and they're just kind of flowing all over the place. So keep that in mind as well. Now, before I start seeds, I'm starting some peppers this weekend. I will lower these lights. So I will pretty much put these lights almost on top of this humidity dome here. So that way when the seedlings pop up, I can turn those lights on, boom, they're on, and they're the perfect height for the seedlings. I will try to link these lights below. I got them from Menards, but I don't know if they still have this particular kind. But you do not need the specific grow lights. You do not need those. You can buy them, but they are expensive. I will tell you that when I bought these, now keep in mind, I bought these in probably 2019, they were $13 a piece. They are more expensive now, but you do not have to spend $50, $60, $70 on grow lights specifically. You can use LED shop lights. They will work just as well. And they're not that harsh red and blue light. They're just regular white light like you saw. So that is something that I think a lot of people get intimidated by, is they think they have to buy the grow lights, but you do not have to buy grow lights. You can buy shop lights, LEDs, and they will work just as well, if not better, than the red and blue lights that you can find online. So that is the gist of my seed setup. Now, because I have cats and they are curious and like to make a mess, I also have, and I have not even unfolded this yet this year, so it's probably gonna be a mess. Oh no, it's fine, okay. So I have this big piece of screen that I actually put on my shelf, and I attach it with big binder clips here on the corner. It goes around all 3 sides of this shelf. The one side is open so the fan can still blow in, and they can't get in that side anyway. But I do put this on here when I have seedlings specifically, especially on the bottom shelf, because they like to wreak havoc on stuff. So if you own an animal that likes to get into your seedlings, this is a good option. I did get this on Amazon. It is like, I don't even know. It's considered pet safe. It's not fiberglass. It's like a plasticky type mesh screen. I'll see if I can find this and link this down below too. But it fits on this shelf perfectly around 3 of the sides. So if this is something that you need to do, this works really, really well. And it still lets airflow in and out. I can still see in there if I need to. The top, I can still move it down because obviously like they can't move this. I mean, they could, but like they're not going to. So that is kind of what I do, and it works really well. So if that is something you need to think about, this is a good option. I will see if I can find this and link it down below. But that is pretty much my seed starting setup. If you have any other questions about seed starting, please let me know. I am going to be starting my first round of seeds this weekend and pretty excited about it, doing some peppers, and I think I might go ahead and do some petunias as well. So those tend to take a little bit longer than some other flowers. So we are almost to the point where we're going to be starting all kinds of seeds. So if you have questions about starting seeds indoors or what you need and don't need, let me know. You don't have to buy these 10-20 trays and all of this stuff like I do. I bought this stuff mostly because I start a lot of plants, and all of this stuff out in my garage just kind of stacks together really easily. But for a few years, I started stuff in like plastic cups. Actually up here, I have a stack. This is like Greek yogurt containers and cottage cheese containers and empty solo cups that I will keep to give people plants in. So keep that in mind as well. You don't have to necessarily go buy stuff to start seeds in. Just use whatever you have. This that keeps blowing around is actually 2 aluminum loaf pans that are nested. One has holes and one doesn't. That I'm actually gonna start some onions in this weekend as well. And then I just have this extra piece of plastic wrap that I'm gonna use as a humidity dome on the top. So you don't have to do anything fancy. I have this because that's the type of person that I am, and I needed to be able to get the most plants in the smallest amount of space. So this is what I did, and it works well. But if you are just starting out, you don't need these trays. You don't. You don't. I would suggest a heat mat. I do think it helps. It helps keep that temperature nice and even. These lights are cheap, and you can also use them other places as well because they're just a nice white light. They're not that broad spectrum red and blue light. So that's my seed starting setup. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.